Ever think about, you know, how racial bias could like creep into all those large language models? You know, the ones everyone keeps talking about?
Yeah.
Powering like chatbots and content creation and like all that stuff.
Right.
Well, today we're gonna like really dive deep into that question using this article.
All right.
Is racial bias being programmed into large language models? It's a fascinating area,
It is this.
especially as we see AI being used in more and more parts of our lives.
Right.
This deep dive will help us understand how AI systems might be perpetuating
Hmm.
societal biases, especially around race,
Right.
even when that's not the intention at all.
Yeah. It's a really important conversation to be having.
So we're talking about things like GPT-3 and GPT-4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're designed to understand and generate human language,
Right.
learning from tons and tons of data.
Yeah.
And that data reflects our world. And unfortunately, the world has some problems.
Yeah.
So the issue isn't like some evil programmer
No.
trying to code in bias.
Right.
It's the data itself.
Right.
These models are trained on info that often has societal biases baked in.
Yeah. It's like, think about a kid learning language from their environment.
Right.
If they're only exposed to certain views or stereotypes,
Yeah.
those biases like become part of how they understand the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar with AI in a way.
So the AI is basically inheriting our bad habits.
In a way, yeah.
But how does this bias actually show up? Like, what are some examples in the real world?
Well, there are some obvious ways it manifests, and then there are more subtle ways.
Okay, give us an obvious one.
Like, imagine an AI generating text that says,
Okay.
the suspect was a black male,
Oh, wow.
even when the prompt never mentioned race at all.
Mm-hmm.
That directly links race with crime, even when it's not relevant.
Yeah.
And that reinforces harmful stereotypes.
That's scary because that's a very clear example of how biased data can lead to biased output.
Exactly.
What about those more subtle forms of bias you mentioned?
Those are harder to catch,
I bet.
but just as impactful.
Like what?
Imagine a company using an AI system
Mm-hmm.
for job recommendations.
Yeah.
If the data it was trained on mostly showed men in leadership positions,
Right.
it might unintentionally favor men for similar roles,
Oh, wow.
even if a woman is equally or more qualified.
Mm-hmm.
These subtle biases, often so ingrained in our culture,
Yeah.
can be perpetuated by AI without us even noticing.
It's kind of like AI is holding up a mirror,
Yeah.
reflecting back our own unconscious biases.
That's a good way to put it.
That's kind of unsettling.
It is unsettling because these biases,
Yeah.
whether obvious or subtle, have real-world consequences.
Right, let's talk about those consequences. What's at stake here? Where are we seeing the impact of this?
Well, the stakes are high because AI is being used in more and more sensitive areas,
Like what kind of areas?
like hiring, law enforcement, healthcare.
Oh, wow, okay.
Take hiring, for example. If a hiring algorithm is trained on biased data,
Mm-hmm.
it could unfairly limit job opportunities for certain racial groups, regardless of their skills.
Yeah. It's like a new form of digital discrimination.
Yeah, and there have been real-world cases
I bet.
where AI systems have shown bias in things like facial recognition
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
and loan approvals.
Yeah.
This highlights the need for more transparency in AI development, for
Yeah.
sure.
And then there's law enforcement.
Right.
I've heard about this predictive policing,
Yeah.
where algorithms are used to like predict where crime will happen.
Exactly. But if the data used to train those algorithms is biased,
Mm-hmm.
it can lead to certain communities being unfairly targeted,
Right.
which just makes things worse.
So we're basically amplifying existing inequalities through biased AI.
A real risk.
And that's especially concerning in fields like healthcare.
Definitely.
Like what could happen there?
Imagine an AI system designed to diagnose heart disease.
Okay.
If the data didn't accurately reflect how common the disease is
Mm-hmm.
across different racial groups,
Yeah.
it might underdiagnose the condition in some populations.
Oh, wow.
And this isn't just theoretical. There are studies that show this happening.
Seriously?
Black patients being underdiagnosed for heart disease because of bad training data.
That's really disturbing.
It is.
Yeah.
This is why we need to have these conversations.
Right.
We can't just blindly trust AI.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge its potential to harm certain groups.
So what are some of the things people are trying to do to fix this?
One key thing is diversifying the data sets used to train these models.
Okay.
By including a wider range of voices and experiences,
Mm-hmm.
we can make the AI less likely to perpetuate those harmful biases.
So it's about making sure the AI gets a well-rounded education,
You could see that?
exposed to different cultures and viewpoints.
Right.
But diversifying data sets sounds like a huge task.
It is.
What are some of the things happening to make this a reality?
Well, there are initiatives focused on collecting more representative data,
Mm-hmm.
especially from marginalized communities.
Yeah.
This is challenging, though, because you have to build trust with these communities
Yeah, I can imagine.
and make sure the data is collected ethically.
So it's not just a technical problem.
No.
It's social and ethical, too.
Exactly.
What else are people doing to try and combat this AI bias?
Another important thing is transparency in AI development.
Okay.
By making the process more open,
Mm-hmm.
we can more easily identify and address potential biases.
Before they get baked into the system. So
Exactly.
it's about letting experts and
Freedom.
even the public see how these AI systems are being built.
It's about accountability.
Is that what bias audits are?
Yes, a bias audit is like a systematic evaluation of an AI system
Okay.
to find and mitigate potential biases
Mm-hmm.
in its design,
Mm.
its data, its algorithms,
So it's a way to check for biases before the system is released.
and potentially causes harm.
Yeah, it's like having a watchdog,
In a way, yeah.
making sure things are fair.
It's a crucial step.
But can we as individuals do anything?
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
we all have a role to play
I,
by staying informed about these issues.
supporting organizations working to promote ethical AI development
Okay.
and advocating for policies that prioritize fairness
Right.
in technology.
It sounds like we can make a difference even if we're not AI experts.
We can and we should. Yeah, it really does come down to all of us working together.
Yeah.
We need folks from different fields like ethicists, sociologists, community leaders.
Okay.
They need to be actively involved in developing and using AI.
Yeah, like having checks and balances.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
any system that can have a big impact,
Mhm.
we need to constantly be checking these systems, making sure they're doing what we want them to as a society,
Mhm.
and being ready to make changes if we need to.
So it's not just about the tech itself.
Right.
It's about us, the choices we make, and the values we build into these systems.
Exactly. AI is a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
It's up to us to make sure it's used ethically and helps everyone.
Which brings us back to the article.
Mm-hmm.
Is racial bias being programmed into large language models? It says that these biases a lot of times come from the data itself.
That's right. It's not always intentional.
Yeah.
The models are trained on data that reflects the biases that are already out there in society,
Right.
and that can lead to some unintended consequences.
So like AI is holding up a mirror to us,
Yeah, that's kind of like that.
showing us all our flaws.
In a way.
Does that mean we're stuck with these biases in the digital world?
Not necessarily. I think it's more of a chance to do better.
Really?
By seeing these biases through AI, we can face them head on and try to build a better future.
I like that.
It's about using AI for positive change,
Yeah.
not just accepting things as they are.
But if we're not careful, it seems like AI could make these biases even worse.
That's the risk we have to be aware of.
Yeah.
But I think we can choose a different path,
What do you mean?
a path where AI helps create a world that's fair and just.
Okay, so that means taking steps to fix this bias.
Right.
We talked about making the data sets more diverse
Yeah.
and being more transparent in how AI is developed. What about having humans involved in overseeing all this?
That's super important. We can't just let these algorithms do whatever they want.
Right.
We need experts from all sorts of fields
Hmm.
to be part of the whole process, from designing and building
Yep.
to actually using and monitoring the AI.
So it's about keeping humans in control.
Yeah, making sure these systems are being used responsibly.
This is something everyone needs to think about.
I agree.
Whether you're a developer or a user or just someone living in this world,
We all have a responsibility here,
it's about making sure AI is used to do good.
and not just preventing harm.
Right.
It's about using AI's power to create a society that's fair for everyone.
We've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
How AI can inherit and spread racial biases, what could happen because of that, and what people are trying to do about it.
It's a big topic.
But before we wrap up, I want to ask you a question, our listener. So as we finish up this look into racial bias in AI,
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you, our listener, what role do you see yourself playing in all this, in shaping the future of this powerful technology?
It's a great question.
It's not some far-off thing you know.
Right.
It's already here.
It's all around us.
Like when you're watching Netflix and it recommends a show, or when you're shopping online,
Yep.
those are all powered by AI.
And those algorithms, even the ones that seem harmless,
Right.
can be biased if we're not paying attention.
And AI is getting more and more advanced all the time,
It is.
affecting everything from healthcare to finance to even education.
It really is.
So it's super important to address these bias problems now
Right.
before they get even more baked into these systems.
I agree. This isn't just a tech problem.
Yeah.
It's a human problem.
It's about deciding what we want AI to be like.
Exactly. Do we want AI to be fair and just?
Yeah.
Or do we let it just repeat all the bad stuff that's already out there?
It's a choice we have to make.
We do.
We can shape the future of AI,
Mm.
but we have to be informed and engaged.
And willing to challenge how things are done.
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool.
It is.
It has so much potential.
But like you said before, it can be used in good ways or bad ways.
Right.
It's up to all of us to make sure it's used ethically and for the benefit of everyone.
We covered a lot today.
Yeah, we did.
How AI can learn racial biases, what that can lead to, and what people are doing to fix it.
It's a complex issue for sure.
But as we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with one last thought.
Okay.
The future of AI isn't set in stone.
That's right.
It's something we're creating right now,
With every decision we make.
every time we use these systems.
So ask yourself, what will your contribution be?
Yeah, will you just sit back and watch?
Or will you help create a future where AI makes the world a better place for everyone?
That's all for our deep dive today.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you learned something new and keep thinking about these issues because the future of AI is in our hands.